All right, so here I am. This is Stories and Solutions. We're on another episode. This is season 2. And I am Mr. Todd, and I have someone here that is I call the future legend. Um uh we met like over 10 years ago, I believe.
Years.
Um and just always been a good person. And that was my first thing that I remember about you was like your vibe, which I said to you earlier.
Yes,
And
sir.
so this is Supamalaman, and you're in Hawaii, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Out over here in Honolulu, it's a paradise.
So you're in my wife's from Oahu.
Oh yeah, same island, same island. Where's she from? What side? You know?
Aiea.
Oh, that's where I grew up. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Same streets. Yeah, that's
That's
awesome.
crazy because her parents live in I have to ask her. They just moved, but they live right by Pearl Harbor.
Oh yeah, that's a beautiful area. Yeah, that's right next to the base. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no better place in the world, I think. You know, that's my personal opinion. So,
I just would go crazy because I can't leave.
oh yeah, you get stir crazy, huh?
Yeah, man. I'm like, I have to get in my car and go somewhere. And if I'm not, like I tried the island thing where we went around, it was like 2 hours.
Yeah, that's a whole island. That's on
Yeah.
traffic. There's 2 hours. It's like 1 hour.
Oh,
Sometimes.
okay. Without traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go nuts. Because I couldn't, like, I mean, I guess if I found a place where it's like a place to be with me and just kind of
Yeah.
separate myself, that's different. But I just knew when we went there, I was like, wow, you know, give me a year, I can be cool. But
Yeah. You got to settle in.
yeah,
It's
maybe.
interesting. When I left, I was gone for a while, and coming back home and kind of seeing all of it from the plane, like it made me feel like, oh, I'm home. You know, there's something
Oh,
about flying over the mainland and just seeing miles and miles and miles in all directions and just feeling small, I guess. Like that's how
really?
I felt. That's how I felt when I went to California, and my homie, I was like, oh yeah, I live in this area, and I'm like, okay, and so I'm like, I'm in Cali. I'll come visit you. I type it into the address, and it was 8 hour drive. I was like,
Oh,
what in the world? Like, how are we in the same state and 8 hours away from each other? That, when you grow up in such a small place where everybody's so connected, I think that it does kind of affect how you experience larger places like that. It just felt like, why is everything so far away? You know what I mean? Like, you can't walk anywhere. I got to get in a car to go to Walmart. That's crazy, right? So
yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely see it though, because my dad's the same way. He makes a trip to the mainland every year just to get on the road and just get on the highway and drive, from Virginia to like New York, and crazy stuff. But
Really?
yeah. So I see it. I see it. I definitely understand. I think that where you grow up and how you grow up definitely affects the environment that you want to be in when you get older.
Yeah, well, I'm from New York, so I'm from the city.
That's
And when I
big.
came, yeah, when I came out here, I was like 10, um, somewhere around there. But I was able to adapt because it was still a city,
Yeah.
Although there wasn't very many people on the street. Like New York, there's always somebody. Out here, there's nobody. Um, we lived in Hollywood too, so there were people, but it wasn't the same vibe.
No, very
Eh,
different.
Yeah, and then I moved to the desert, which was like nobody, and that felt like
That's
an
too open, yeah.
that felt like an island. Like it was like, you didn't have water. There's just a desert oasis, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like how you said, like I felt small there.
Hmm.
But when I went to Hawaii, I remember I kept saying something like, trying to remember, like Asia was laughing at me because I kept saying, "Wow, wow, look at the sky. It's like really blue." And then they're like her family was like laughing at me, and I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
you guys are jerks. Like, why are you laughing at me?
Yeah.
And then like when we went to the water,
Yeah.
I remember I was like, look, like I can see fish, because in
You
New
can't
York
see.
it's mud. You
Yeah.
don't see nothing, and out here it's dirty. So it's like I didn't want to swim. I don't get in the water out here. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's I loved being there. I
Mhm.
just don't know if I could survive. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd have to have a place out here as well.
100%.
Yeah.
That'd
So
be a
we met through Eric, right?
yep,
And
yep. Long time ago.
okay. So this is yeah, so I actually met Eric, I think it was 2005. Um and then I'm looking at my notes here because I had like we met through Eric, but then Eric and well Dez is now Genesis, one Genesis
Mhm.
producer, and then somehow you ended up with the Buzz mixtape,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And
I
which
remember
which I apologize because that didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but
that.
but it was I'm telling you, man, I'm going to avenge that.
Yes, yes. Never give up. Never give up.
No. So what's the meaning of Supamalaman?
So when I was a kid, I used to be kind of a, it's the typical story of being kind of an outsider, not really fitting in with any of the groups of kids that I was with. So I ended up because I was kind of a smart kid. My parents wanted me to be this little brilliant president, you know what I mean? The black president kind of kid,
Yeah.
and I had the aptitude for it, but I think that because they pushed it so heavily, it made me push away other kids that were maybe not living up to that standard that my parents had put on me.
Okay.
And so I ended up in a lot of weird circles. I spent a lot of time by myself, and I spent a lot of time writing and drawing. Actually, it
Mm.
was funny. I don't really draw that much anymore, but I really loved superheroes growing up. I watched so much Dragon Ball Z, and just because for me, it always felt like things were a struggle. Like I was fighting against, the expectations of from my parents, and just that loneliness. I started drawing comics, and the character was Malaman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a silly name. It's just a portmanteau of my name and Superman, right? But that character, he was happy-go-lucky. He wasn't the smartest cat, but he was always the hardest worker, and that
Mm.
that was I kind of took all of the things that I admired and put them into one character, and I would try my best to embody that. And I remember, we discussed before this, before we hit record,
Yeah.
um, how
That was great, by the way.
yeah, no, excellent conversation, excellent conversation.
Yeah.
Um, it's super important to me to always be yourself, because what ends up happening is the people who respond to that the right way are going to stick around.
That's
And
right.
I didn't have a lot of friends at first, but I started drawing these comics, and some people made fun of me and were like, "Oh, what a weird kid, drawing doodling all day." And then there were some kids who were like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. Like, could you make a character for me too?" And
Wow.
led to this whole creation of a universe. And I remember when I got to high school, the comic book movies had started coming out, X-Men and stuff like this. And it became like that was my thing. Like, people came to me and were like, "Yo, like, what's this week's comic? Like, when are you gonna drop?"
That's dope.
Yeah, it was super cool. I had all kind of
Yeah.
people, people from all different walks of life would hear about it and would be like, "Yo, like, I want a character in the story. I want to have these powers and stuff." And so yeah, it became popular enough where like I wasn't like ostracized the way that I was in elementary school and middle school. I had a lot of friends, people who really liked it, people who were into that kind of culture. And so that was really important to me, to just kind of sticking to realizing like that was who I wanted to be. That was the kind of person I wanted to be, and I didn't give up on it. I kept pursuing it even when it wasn't working out for me, and how it turned around and became a positive thing. Something that people had made fun of me for had
Right.
become, people would call me that. People, "Hey, yo, Malaman," that's how people talk to me. And that nickname stuck. And when I created this whole world, the idea of, because in Japan they have honorifics, something that you add to somebody's name to show that you respect them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so I created my own honorific, and
Super.
Supa was the honorific. So, my friends call me Malaman, but if you don't know me like that, then it's Supamalaman, right? So that's how it is.
That's cool. So like, what made you want to rhyme?
Oh man. So it's super funny. I had a period of time where I was super religious, and I got really into Christian rap, right?
Mm,
And for at the time, there wasn't really a lot of that. It was super niche. I know Lecrae went on to blow up and got his Grammy and all that, so that's really cool for them. But
yeah.
before that, it was very few people knew about it. And because I was religious at a time in my teenage years where there wasn't a lot of music for us, so we would listen to these few artists, and we wanted to bring that energy to our youth group, right? So me and a
Okay.
couple other guys, we started our own Christian rap group, which it was really fun at the time. We performed it at the church. Yeah, they didn't. A lot of the older folks did not like the idea of Christian rap. They thought that those two things did not, collide at all in their minds.
Did they see it like as a negative?
Oh yeah, definitely. There were some people who thought that it was like bringing the secular world to the church, and even though
Oh,
we were
okay.
trying to tell them that like we're young and we're into this and we want to use this to spread the word kind of thing. But some people they don't like change, especially when it deals with things that they have demonized in the past. So I understand, especially in retrospect, where they were coming from. I still disagree, but that was kind of the start of it. That was the start of my making my own records. And then I had a falling out. I started to research other religions and realizing that things are a little more complicated than they were kind of being presented to me. And I ended up being kind of ostracized from my religious group because I didn't agree with everything the book was saying, word
Mm,
for word. And I had already kind of pushed away a lot of friends on the secular side because I was,
because
a
you're into the
Bible
Christian rap.
exactly. And so it kind of left me in this space where I had all these kind of ideas and I wanted to express myself, right? Like I felt lonely again, like from how it was from back in the day, but I had all this knowledge that I had accumulated from studying the Bible. And I started writing my own songs, which were kind of a lot of the early stuff was kind of about, just the struggle, of wanting to believe in something bigger and all of that. When I met, well, I had a cousin, his name was Dominic, um, and his brother was producing beats, and he was making a bunch of songs, and we were over at his house one day, and he says, "Hey man, can y'all like I want to test out my new microphone," but he was super shy, so he's like, "Can y'all just spit some bars over this, right?" And we made like 6 songs that night, me and my cousin, and after that, it was a wrap. Like after I started, like I learned how to actually record tracks on my own. I just started pumping out just
And
tape
then more
after
and more.
tape and after tape, and it never really stopped after that. Once we did Team 808 in high school. There was a producer. He went on to do some amazing things. One of my friends, Darrell, so he went on to join this beat organization called Street Empire, and they went and put beats on Logic. I think he got his Grammy, or what is it called, gold record, working with them. So he's went on to go
Nice.
do amazing things. But I remember we were just, he's just messing around in Fruity Loops making beats, and we would lay down tracks, and it became one of those things where it's like whenever I wanted to hang out with my friends, like what are we gonna do? We're gonna put something together, right? We're gonna make a track. Like we'll party or whatever, but we'll make a song. It was like a productive reason to get together. And I just kept utilizing that as a technique to make friends, man. And
Mm. And
my
this was all Christian?
no. So it
This
wasn't.
was
It
after.
was after that.
Okay.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Like phase two.
Yeah, phase two was all secular stuff. Well, I'll say that my phase one was Christian. Phase two was kind of like struggling with losing my faith, right? And then phase three was just full on because I'm hanging out with my friends. and they want to rap like Lil Wayne,
I
right?
got you.
So we're saying all kind of nonsense stuff. And one thing I always tell people whenever they want to get into music, I always say try and emulate somebody that you like a lot,
Yeah,
right? Because
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson, Prince, whatever, whoever it is for you, just try and like make the same kind of music. And then over time, as you get more comfortable in yourself, you will start to kind of branch out. Right. So I started making music for fun, making all these party songs. This is ridiculous stuff. And then I graduated high school, and all of my friends, the guys at the Team 808 crew, they all fled to the mainland. They all got out of Hawaii. They wanted to go to college at Georgia State or go to North Carolina, etc. And I was just by myself. And because I was by myself, I was able to kind of really find my own style.
Nice.
And it just took off from there. I ended up meeting up with the Team Dethrone guys. Completely changed my life. That's where I met my boy Fuku, who introduced me to Eric. And everything just it's evolved. And it feels so natural, just going out there and doing what I feel like a compulsion to do that I was doing when there was nothing, and it was just me alone in the studio. And it's done nothing but bring, amazing people into my life. So
You're like really gifted. When I heard you, Eric came to me. He was like, dude, Eric and I were doing Beat Addicts at the time.
mm-hmm. Yep.
And he was just learning how to use Machine, and I had just got Machine.
Mm-hmm.
And I come from Pro Tools, MPC. I'm like way back, right? MPC 2000. I still have mine. But I was, doing my thing, and he was like, hey, can you help me? Like, I want to learn how to do beats and this and that. And we were just vibing, like talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he told me one day, he was like, man, you got to meet this dude. I'm making sure the microphone got this. He's like, man, you got to meet this dude. This cat is like legit. We got to do something, this and that. And I was like, that's your thing, like, because I'm more like, if this is what you found, like, you should be doing what you want to do,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And then when I heard you, I was like, Native Tongues, like that went through my head.
Yeah.
De La Soul. And then it was like Substance. And I'm telling you, man, I was like sitting there like this is what I've been waiting for, because I work with people, and I'm sure you understand this, but there's people that have talent. I think everybody has talent. But when you have like a certain amount of talent and you think you have more than what you really have because you try to emulate somebody, that's not talent. That's just like emulating somebody.
Yeah.
You're copying, right? So when I meet people, because I'm in California, I tend to waste a lot of time because everybody sings. Everybody raps. And then when they say, oh, go to my SoundCloud or whatever, and I listen to it, I'm like, this is garbage, right? Because everybody wants to sound like somebody else. And I'm more like, I want to hear something that doesn't sound like anything. So I can say, hey, my music doesn't sound like everybody's either. Maybe this fits, and I want it to be something that's felt. So when like your song Malaking, I'm telling you, I don't have, my notes have nothing to do with your music. It's just questions that I always wanted to ask you. But my like, okay, let's put it this way. I can't even show you. So I deleted because my phone was pretty much
full.
Yeah. So I was like, I need to get space on here, right? And I deleted all my music. So just to prove my point. I don't know. Oh, because the blurry thing is on. Let me see if I do that. Maybe you can see it.
Oh, 2010 King. Oh my god.
You can see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
Just for a second.
Yeah. So I was trying to I don't know how to like get it off now. But yeah, so I have this Malaking, right? And when I listen to this, I could tell you, okay, beast mode. That made me say, use your MPC for this dude.
Hell yeah, bring it out.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Malaking, I love that song. No Brainer. Believe it or not, the one from the Black and Yellow,
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
the
Right.
remix. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, there's a quite a few, but there was like the reason why I'm telling you this is that's 2010.
Hmm.
I still vibe to that to get myself in when I listen to your Urameshi. I don't
Hmm.
know if I'm saying it correctly.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's correct.
so I listened to that and I created stuff for you. I listened to Malaking, I created stuff for you. But I was waiting for this day for years because I was like, I want to be able to see you, talk to you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And
100%.
yeah, it's the truth. It's like someone could say, oh, I'm Timbaland and he's worked with all these people, but his main thing in his head is I worked with Jay-Z,
Yeah, 100.
right? That's how I'm looking at you. But like Talib back in the day, I don't like the new stuff, but like,
Yeah, yeah, the new Black Soul.
yeah, it's just, but like De La, like I said, like native tongues, but there's substance there,
Yeah.
like you have substance. So that's why I asked you. So,
I
um,
mean,
yeah, so like for your age, to me, you're like pretty accomplished. So you said you did 6 years in the service?
yes, sir. In the Air Force.
Oh, it's Air Force. I don't know why I thought you were in the Army.
No, no,
Air,
no, no.
Air okay, Air
I
Force is
had my wings
education.
and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's nice. And then you have music, and then you're what I say you're in agriculture.
Yes, sir. I'm a botanist. I studied at the University of Hawaii. Got my plant science degree.
Nice. So you have that. The way I know you is like you're a very like a peaceful person, earth conscious. I feel that in your music, but I feel like all that like now that like over the time, like getting to know you
Hmm.
through these different, avenues, um, it completely makes sense for what your music is like. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
100%.
yeah, yeah.
I was
So
having a conversation with my mom today, because I was showing her the Kale song, and she thought it was hilarious. You know, she's laughing, and she asked me like, what made me want to write a song about kale, right? And I was like, well, it's not really about kale, mom, but I told her that my approach has always been the same. It's fundamentally about, kind of asking what is it about. Like the one thing that I dislike is when I listen to a song and I don't learn anything about the artist. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like, I love it when a song is an exploration of who that person is, right?
yeah,
Because that's what we do it for. That's what we hear. That's what we want to hear. You want to get a
connect.
window. Yeah, you want to connect. Exactly. So I'm always thinking like, what about my experience? Like, what bars can only come from me? You know what I mean? What song idea can only come from me? Like from what I know as a plant scientist, right? From what I know as a veteran, from what I know as somebody who used to be religious, from my experiences, how can I bring something that, when someone listens to it, they're going to know more about me at the end of it. You know what I mean? No matter how long they've been listening, they're going to feel like they're there with me. You know what I mean? That's the main thing that I aim for, before I start anything is like, how can I bring my experience to this? You know what I mean? How
Yeah,
can I add it all up?
yeah. I get you. My this album I just finished, it's a poetry album.
Oh,
So it's like I can't really say too much, but it's like poetry, spoken word, music. And
yeah,
there's like this weird
blend. Yeah,
mix. Yeah, it's just because I told you I don't do like what everybody else does. I do
yeah.
what I want to do. And a lot of times I do it and I'm like, nah, the world doesn't want this. So it's,
They're not ready.
but
Yeah,
yeah, like it sits there, but I still did it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And this one is like really personal. It's called Letters to My Father, Lessons to My Seeds,
that's dope.
right? So you'll hear like what when you hear that, if
Yeah,
anything, yeah, if you don't understand me from there, you're not listening.
that's everything right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
You laid
yeah,
it all
yeah,
out.
yeah. It's pretty self-explanatory.
That's
But
dope.
so were you born in Hawaii?
Oh no, no, I was born in England. My parents
Wow.
had me out there. I was only there for a year. My mom said that she swears I had a British accent as a baby. I highly doubt that, but went straight from England, came to Hawaii. I spent my first few years out there. Then went back to the mainland, lived in South Carolina and Maryland. And then my
Okay.
dad decided we got to come back to Hawaii. And so he came back to Hawaii. And that's where I spent the majority of my development.
Wow. So where else would you live if like because you've been places, like where else would you live if you had choice to just say I want to relive? Because we were talking about earlier about the truck and like
Yeah,
just
just
gone.
driving off.
So
So
like where would you go?
I think if I had any choice in the world, I really want to go to like one of those future cities, right? Like Singapore or Neom is a new city that's being developed by the Saudi Arabia. Like I really want to see, I mean, even Korea, like I'm hearing all kind of crazy things about the the kind of advancement that people are achieving in urban development is inspiring. And I love Hawaii, I do, but we're kind of backwards out here. You know, whenever you ask people about Hawaii, some people like, don't they live in huts, right? And it's like it's not too far off. You know, we're pretty rudimentary.
Like primitive, yeah, primitive.
Yeah, we got our first train that came up, and people are fighting it. There's a lot of political drama about it. But just from the public transit, you know what I mean? It's we're very backwards here. And if I were to, if you know, nothing was off limits, someplace like Taiwan or you know, somewhere super advanced, I definitely want to go, like Japan, and live there for a little while. I wanted to see the United States because as an American, I don't know, I feel like there's not enough. I don't know. I feel like I meet so many people who are kind of stuck in their place, right? And people
Okay.
who don't have that military kind of background of jumping around everywhere, um, you can get dug in pretty easily, right? And then get comfy that way. And years can get shaved off your life. And I really want to see America. You know what I mean? Like that's something that's on my bucket list. It's just to see the country that I'm walking around. You know, I wore the
Yeah.
flag on my shoulder for 6 years. I think it's important that you have that trip. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
know, that trip where you get in that car and you just drive and just see what the states are about, because it's a beautiful country. Like it's an amazing place. Like, and I say that from a biological standpoint. As a biologist,
Oh,
um,
okay.
um, for one, like the nature reserves and stuff, the amount of biodiversity and the uniqueness of the new world. A lot of it, when we talk about you know, the reason why, you know, slavery and the trade between, you know, the triangle, but the guns in Africa and the materials to Europe, the reason why the discovery of the new world actually revolutionized the entire planet was because fundamentally of the biodiversity that was available. It was like dumping a whole new planet on the old planet. You know what
I
I
got
mean?
you. Yeah.
It turned out to be a negative consequence for the people who lived here. And you know, we acknowledge that 100%. But the reason why was because of the biology. There was so many new species here. There was so much space. There was so much. There's so many plants that we eat now that were not normal. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
corn.
right, right.
Corn was a completely North American discovery. It did not exist other places. Potatoes grow in South America, and they completely. The reason why China's population is the size it is now is because of the discovery of potatoes. So all these different things completely revolutionized the world, and I feel like as a botanist, like one of the most important moments in my life was when I had a dream that the the redwood forest burned down. So the next day I woke up and I bought a ticket to California, and I went out and I stood underneath those trees, because as a
Mm.
plant scientist, for me, like this is one of the most remarkable biological achievements on the planet. Like these trees are
Oldest trees.
some of the oldest trees in the world. They're huge, you
Yeah.
know.
I took my kids.
it's a beautiful place. It's an enchanting place. Like it's truly magical, and it was worth it, you know, just to go out there and just be in that nature. And that's when I knew that I needed to do a trip like that. So that's still on my bucket list, and that's what I was planning on doing. But as far as living, like I definitely want to experience kind of the highest level of human achievement when it comes to, you know, technology, what we built and developed. The city is sort of like the ultimate human organism, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's one contiguous unit of humans living in close contact, you know, developing and creating culture. I think that's an amazing thing, and that's definitely on my list. So
that's
yeah.
cool.